The Robert Jones bandage is used for distal extremity fractures. So this bandage would only be used for fractures such as the radius and ulna or the tibia fibula. That's it. When we're gonna say you broke your radius, and we diagnosed this because you were non-weight bearing on this limb, and then we took a radiograph and saw the fracture. Now, we're going to use a Robert Jones to temporarily stabilize this fracture. Temporarily is the key. We want to stabilize this fracture, immobilize this fracture to prevent it from moving and worsening until it can be repaired surgically. That's the key. So this could be on for a few hours, this could be on for a couple of days, until surgery is the end result of fixing this fracture. When we're doing a Robert Jones, to stabilize and immobilize this broken bone, I need to immobilize the joint distal to the fracture and the joint proximal to the fracture. So you can see that this would not be a good bandage for a humeral fracture or a femur fracture, because how do you immobilize the shoulder? How do you immobilize the hip? You can't. But I can immobilize the carpus here in the elbow. I can immobilize the tarsus or the hock and the stifle. But because of the type of joint up here, I can't immobilize it. So that's the reason, the indication for this type of bandage. Temporarily immobilization and stabilization of a radial or an ulnar fracture, a tibia or a fib fracture. All right, the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to need some tape. This is a weird one. And I'm going to put a strip of tape, and I'm going to call it a stirrup. And we're going to have it stick to the animal. Again, this animal has a fracture, so I'm not going to be like, I want to be gentle. But think of a fracture. Fractures are painful. So you're probably sedated. You probably have a little happy juice on board, because we needed to take a radiograph of you, and we needed to move this limb around. And if you're painful, that could be very difficult. And so you're probably laying lateral on the table. This lateral stirrup, I am going to take a tongue depressor, and at the very end of this stirrup, I'm just going to place it. Okay? It'll make sense in hopefully a few minutes. I'm going to take another strip of tape, and I'm going to put it on the medial aspect. Stick to the animal. And I'm going to have it also stick to the other side of my tongue depressor. Just kind of snug everything gently down. Most bandages have 3 layers. This could have more than 3. And the 4th layer could be a contact layer, such as a Telfa bandage. What if this bone was jutting out of the skin? Well, then we would have to put a Telfa bandage over it, over that wound. But if it wasn't such type of fracture, if there was no obvious wound, then we wouldn't need that. The second layer that we need is our padding and compression layer. With the Robert Jones, you need a lot of padding. Today, I am not going to provide as much padding as what you would typically do in the real world. Again, I need to go down. If we have a radial or an ulnar fracture like we have here, I need to pad it all the way from the carpus, all the way up to the elbow. In reality, I'll just do it like this. In reality, for a Robert Jones, for this type of size of animal, I'd probably put 3 times the amount. There was one German Shepherd dog that I had to do this on, and I didn't have enough cotton roll, so I started cutting apart a comforter, because you just need a tremendous amount of padding. Now, to stabilize this fracture, I need to squish all of this padding down. So I need a bandage that has a lot of give. So I gotta use the cling wrap here. I can't use the cast padding because as soon as I stretch it, it's gonna break. I'm gonna need a bunch. Starting distally, anti-Tracy toilet paper. The first wrap is one that's just gonna provide me some locking mechanism. But as I come around, you're sleeping. If you do not sweat doing this bandage, you're doing it wrong. And as I come around, I wanna be consistent. So I'm coming up at equal intervals with my bandage. Oh God, I probably have a double chin in this video now. Great, probably triple chin. See how you're looking for consistency. I should pull it a little bit more because see how it's thicker in that area? Hold that there, sleeping dog. Again, new roll. I'm just gonna wrap it the one around to get a locking mechanism. And then as I come around, pull it. I'm gonna go distally now and provide some more compression in this area. Do you see how it's just a little chunkier here, a little chunky monkey right there? I'm gonna see if I can tuck it in even that much better. Snug it in.
Oh, there you go.
In reality, again, with 3 times the amount of padding, roll cotton, you would probably need more than 2 rolls of that cling wrap to tackle what you just saw. When this animal wakes up and is ambulatory, this bandage is gonna fall. If it were just like this, it just fall down. And so here you can see the purpose of the stirrups. We're going to now take the stirrups and we're going to twist the tape. We're not going to pull up. Actually, that's counterproductive. We're just going to twist it and stick the tape to our bandage. So this stirrup ultimately just kept the tape from sticking on itself. Just twist it. And then snug everything down. Then we have to vet wrap it. I'm mentioning this because if this animal goes home for a period of time, until surgery is scheduled, usually surgery can get scheduled pretty promptly, so usually the owners don't have to deal with this. But if by some chance they were, no, I can't live without my dog for a couple hours, so I'm gonna take it home for a few hours. Okay, whenever you send them home with a bandage, be careful of the colors you choose. There might be some men who are offended that their hunting dog has a pink vet wrap bandage. I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm just saying something to consider. So your primary layer, protecting it from the elements, we have 2 choices, vet wrap and elasticon, and we would vet wrap the entire bandage. Again, here I've got, why did I open it up if I'm not doing it? You see as I wrap it around all the way to the top. And I can assess the digits here again to see if the bandage is too tight. Sound good? Time out.